I'm Neve from Catfish, the series that investigates social media mysteries. Tonight, the new series True Life Crime investigates the most harrowing true crime mysteries rocking headlines and social feeds. These victims were young. The crimes against them were shocking, and haunting questions remain. True Life Crime is here to expose the truth. In tonight's case, imagine you pick up your phone only to realize you're locked out of Instagram, Snapchat, email, and even your bank account. When you finally do get back online, all of your personal information is stolen, and your money is gone. Tonight, MTV News reporter Domiti Pongo investigates a multi-million-dollar hack and discovers the very real dangers facing every one of us who owns a phone.
There's a new breed of cybercriminal who can target anyone from anywhere.
Everyone is walking around with bad security, and no one cares until they're hacked.
The victim's weakness? Their cell phone numbers.
What do you do when you can't trust your phone number?
Once these hackers take control, it's game over.
Everything was gone. You mean all of your money?
Yes.
And it was just terrifying.
This little-known threat is a multi-million-dollar scam that's devastating people's lives.
These were very serious and heinous crimes.
Victims became suicidal over the complete financial ruin.
I was shocked because I never thought anything crazy like that would happen.
No one is safe. It can happen to anyone.
That includes the rich and famous. A wave of celebrity attacks put the cybercrime in the spotlight. Adam Sandler, Mariah Carey, even the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, fell victim. Actor-comedian King Batch live-streamed about it.
So my passwords are not easy, and for my to get hacked, give me a new phone or something, because this is crazy.
These thieves believe they were untouchable.
No one had been arrested, and they really didn't have too much to fear.
They stole over $40,000 worth of...
Until an elite team of cybercrime cops made the first ever arrest of its kind in history.
He stole a ton of money to pay for this lifestyle.
You are not gonna believe who is behind a scheme this sophisticated.
Hey guys.
What's up? I'm Domiti.
Hey, I've actually read a little bit about you.
That's scary as hell.
Does any of this kind of look familiar to you?
Got it.
It can take only minutes for a hacker to find all your personal information so they can assume your identity and infiltrate your online accounts.
Damn.
With this information right here, I could probably open up a couple of credit cards in your name, steal your money, and destroy your life.
He's just trying to creep me out, and it's working.
I just saw every password I've ever had and a lot of other personal information. Basically a hacker's dream, all on some guy's laptop I've never met. So anyone out there who doesn't think they could be a target for hackers, think again. With social media being so integral to our lives, careers, and identity, all our personal info is out there, and digital data has become a criminal's greatest commodity.
Cyber attacks are more of a threat than ever right now, and there's one hack in particular that scared the out of me. Never in my worst nightmare could I have conjured up a hacker taking complete control of my cell phone from anywhere in the world and having access to my social media, emails, pictures, all of my money. And that's why I had to find out how these hackers were doing this and if there was anybody doing anything to stop them. I had no idea of the rabbit hole I was about to head down.
It all started with an online article I read on medium.com written by a guy named Diego Polito. He had something stolen I didn't even know there was a market for. His Instagram name, which was simply @Diego.
Diego had what's known as a vanity handle. You can think of it as an elite Twitter or Instagram name. They're usually pretty short. They could be a letter or a word. They're pretty desirable because they signal some sort of status. There's marketplaces that have popped up online to sell them. They go for as low as $50, or some vanity handles are sold for hundreds of thousands.
Now, it's perfectly legal to buy, sell, or trade vanity handles, but then hackers figured out a way to steal them, which is what happened to Diego. How did they do it? Diego and I both live in New York.
Hey, how you doing, man?
So it's time to meet him in person.
What happened?
It was a crazy ordeal because my actual phone line wasn't working. It just said no service. So I called about my phone not working. They're like, oh, no worries. We just texted you the instructions to your LG View Android phone. No, like I don't have an Android phone, I have an iPhone. They're like, no, you switched your phone to an Android phone. You did it yourself, like you called. I hadn't.
Holy.
Diego's phone service was eventually restored, but when he logged into his Instagram account, he made a startling discovery. The hackers had stolen his username, leaving another in its place.
They changed my username from @Diego to @Diego Rips.
Like R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace, almost like Diego's dead.
That's an asshole move,
Oh.
man.
4 days later, someone texted me and they said, hey, your account's back up. It's someone else.
Diego believes the hacker sold his stolen handle to Rock of Ages star Diego Boneta, and there wasn't anything he could do to get it back.
How do you feel about this whole experience, man?
It made me feel a little less secure that I was being targeted by malicious people. So I felt that I was essentially just robbed out of my identity. That's not a place you want to be in.
2,500 miles away in Los Angeles, California, a teenager with the coveted vanity handle @Zero was partying like a rock star and flexing on Instagram when he caught the attention of armed robbers and was held up at gunpoint.
Like, I was so scared. Like, it was literally about to pull the trigger on me. I'm lucky I'm alive.
I would later find out that @Zero was tied to the same scam that targeted Diego. What was the connection? And how exactly were these hackers stealing vanity handles?
Turns out stealing vanity handles was just the gateway into an even bigger scam. Hackers had figured out a way to get into people's financial accounts to clean them out. And to find out exactly how they were doing this, I'm headed to Silicon Valley, California, the heart of the tech world.
Aside from the big players like Google and Facebook, Silicon Valley is also home base for an elite group of cops called REACT, which stands for the Regional Enforcement Allied Computer Team. I'm meeting Detective Sammy Tarazi, who has the 12-man task force created to combat cybercrime.
How do hackers pull off this scheme?
They'll contact the telephone company and say, hey, I'm Sammy Tarazi. I lost my phone. I have a new phone. Can you transfer the service from that old phone to a new phone? After verifying a bunch of security questions that they have the answers to, and they'll say, what's the number of the new SIM card? And on a SIM card, there's a long series of numbers. They type it into the computer, they hit enter, and now the victim's phone loses service. And then the bad guy's phone that they just read that SIM card off to goes live with that service. So now the victim can no longer receive phone calls, make phone calls, receive text messages, or send text messages. And every future text message and phone call will go to the bad guy phone.
But when you call your mobile carrier and you say, I've got a new SIM card, they ask all of these security questions. How are these hackers getting access to the answers to those questions?
Through website compromises, phishing compromises, email scams.
Cybercrimes like phishing are the most common way to gather personal data and passwords by using fraudulent emails, texts, and websites disguised as real businesses. They also troll social media for things like birth dates and pet names.
So how exactly are they resetting passwords?
So what they do is once they have control of the phone number, they go to the victim's email address and say, I forgot my password. Google will send a text message saying, please type in the text message code we just sent you. They type it in and they're into their Google account. And from there, they do the same technique over and over again, resetting passwords to every account they have.
I'm just getting anxiety hearing you talk about this, bro.
Within minutes, hackers can infiltrate your emails, private photos, and personal documents stored on the cloud. But the biggest prize of all, your money.
How much money are we talking?
SIM swapping has resulted in at least $75 million in theft. We have, over 2,000 victims, probably 50 to 75 bad guys.
REACT had been investigating the scam for 18 months before they got their first big break.
Hackers are known for being hard to track down. That's kind of their thing. That's how they're able to do what they do. So the React team had their work cut out for them when they had to figure out a way to locate these guys. Sammy's putting me in touch with some of his fellow React investigators who were on this case from the very beginning. And you are not gonna believe who is behind a scheme this sophisticated. So tell me about that moment when Sammy brings this case to you.
So in March of 2018, we had one victim who had about $10,000 stolen from him and reported that his cell phone had stopped working, and subsequently he had lost access to a bunch of his online accounts.
Then we just started looking at the phone records of who took over the phone. And we see that the victim's cell phone was in San Jose area. Then when it switches, it goes right to Boston, just south of Harvard. We figured it out. It was an Android-based phone, and we sent off warrants to Google to ask for whatever data they had that correlates to that number of the phone that the bad guy was using. We get a guy named Joel Ortiz's email address. We got his whole account with all the emails he's ever sent and received. And within those emails, we see a picture of him holding up his driver's license.
19-year-old Joel Ortiz is none other than @Zero, that guy who was flexing online and then held up at gunpoint.
Two guys came to the house with guns and pointed at me and my friends. It's crazy.
That piece of information was a huge break. Seems like the victim was actually the criminal. The clock was ticking to catch Joel before he hacked another target.